Hey guys, TGKS Productions. For this Red Deadline video, we're going to be breaking down the Newswire as well as the trailer regarding the upcoming Blood Money DLC coming to Red Dead Online July 13th. So this video is going to be sort of a two-part video. First, I want to look at the Newswire that talks about this DLC. The reason for that being is because the Newswire, I think, is going to make the trailer a lot clearer when we break it down, because a lot of what is talked about in the Newswire, you can sort of see in the trailer. But I think if you just look at the trailer and you don't look at the Newswire, there's sort of that like connection that gets lost of like, well, what does this mean in the trailer? Like, why is this happening? Or I think the Newswire makes this a lot clearer. So we are on the Rockstar Newswire here. Here's the article that Rockstar has released. We have the trailer here, which we're going to look at very shortly. So earn your blood money across a series of daring robberies, new opportunities, and more coming next week's Red Online update. Now, I'm not going to read the whole Newswire. I want to say that here right now just because I want to try to save some time. I'm going to try to break it down in a way that is very understandable to you guys as far as like what is happening in this DLC. So first off, we have here who I believe is Guido Martelli, the right-hand man of Angelo Bronte, who we see in story mode. Now, Guido Martelli, I believe, is going to be this introductory character in this DLC, similar to what we've seen with past DLCs, like with the Naturalist role, where Harriet and Gus introduce us to that DLC. I think that, Guido Martelli is going to be that introductory character that we're going to have to be, introduced to in this DLC to get started. The thing I want to mention, I'm going to skip around a little bit to try to make this more clearly. When you do get started with this DLC and you meet Angelo Bronte, or I'm sorry, not Angelo Bronte, Guido Martelli, there's no upfront costs or investment required, which is awesome. So we haven't had a DLC like that for a couple years now, quite literally. It's always been some sort of like gold investment to get started with these roles. I don't think this is really going to be a role DLC, but thankfully any player that wants to get involved in this DLC can right off the bat, which is awesome. Now, once we get introduced to the DLC through Guido, or I'm sorry, I can't want to say Guido. It is Guido Martelli, actually. I thought I was saying Angelo Bronte for a second. As soon as we get introduced with Guido Martelli, he has two objectives for us as far as what he wants us to, I guess, carry out for him in this DLC. The first of which is gaining this Capitale. Now, Capitale is originally devised as a unique system of exchange for more sensitive business dealings away from the watchful eyes of the taxman. That's how this Newswire classifies it as. And I'm not sure if these were sort of used for political reasons. I tried to do some research on Capitale. I didn't find too much. I found this sort of case, I guess, in Rome where this mafia organization was stealing like money that was destined for city services. So I don't know if this is going to be like related to like political money. I think maybe even bonds, as we see in the trailer. But bottom line, I don't really want to confuse people with that. We have to obtain this Capitale. Now, how are we going to obtain this Capitale? Well, once we get introduced in Angelo Bronte, no, not Angelo Bronte, Guido Martelli introduces us. He tells us what he wants to do. How are we going to acquire this Capitale? That's our first objective. Well, essentially, it's going to be by meeting these characters around the world of Red Dead Online, or some of the West reprehensible trusted soldiers. And we have this new type of work called crimes. Now, what are these crimes that are going to give us this going to earn us this Capitale? Well, essentially, we have cloak and dagger coach holdups, multi-stage robberies, which I find interesting. We have kidnapping, brutal debt collections. I think we see that a little bit in story mode and more. Now, I don't really think this is going to be like heists. I think a lot of people really would want that. I don't really see this being like a heist type of scenario, or at least maybe like a small armed robbery. I don't know if this is going to be anything huge, but yeah. Essentially, that's how we're going to be some of what we're going to be obtaining this Capitale. What's nice is these crimes we can embark on. You can do solo, which is great. You can do it up with a full posse too. So I believe it's up to like 7 people, but you can do it solo, which is awesome. That accommodates the solo players. Now, I also believe there's going to be some ways to obtain this Capitale in free roam. One way we know for sure are these homesteads that probably in these vulnerable camps, I guess, which will probably be random events, as it says here. You may hear of unlocked homesteads in vulnerable camps. I think that those probably, as I've heard even other players discuss in the community, I think that's probably going to be maybe like random events that might pop up in free mode. We'll be able to rob the homestead, steal this capital stash, and that'll go towards our first objective for Guido Martelli. And then also we have these hidden chests and remains of those who've crossed your path, that I think is looting. I want to say that's probably in free mode, these hidden chests, and then having the chance of looting Capitale off of people, or or NPCs. I don't know. It could maybe be in the missions. I would think that'd be more free mode, but Rockstar isn't very clear on that. Nonetheless, we know that these homesteads will for sure be in free mode. Now, what? Whoa. Now, what is our second objective he wants us to complete here? Once we have enough capital, as it says here, once we've gone through enough crimes, we've obtained enough capital. Um, we're going to be introduced to these opportunities. Now, these opportunities essentially, as far as we're going to be, I guess we're going to be we're going to be trying to stifle a rise in Lemoyne Center who's disrupting Angelo Bronte's operations throughout the regions. That's why I said like these capital, um, whatever seal might be more political since he's trying to disrupt a senator here. And then it also says each opportunity can reveal various approaches to the task at hand. Listen to nearby conversations, or look for important targets to uncover new paths to completion and weaken the politician's position by bringing each of their 3 jewels of the West to Martelli. The first of 3 opportunities is available July 13th. 2 more unveil themselves over time. So we're going to be getting the first opportunity the day of the DLC. Of course, we have to have enough capital to be able to restart the opportunity. One thing I'm not sure about is it talks about like listening to nearby conversations, look out for important targets, uncover new paths to completion, weaken the politician's position. I'm not sure if that means like over time, like it just means these opportunities are going to come up, or when it says to listen to nearby conversations, are we literally have to like go to location, listen to a conversation that's going to introduce us to the new opportunity, or are we actually going to be in the mission where it says like can reveal various approaches to the task at hand, where when we're actually in the mission, we have multiple ways that we can tackle the mission. I'm not really sure what that means there. Bottom line, it looks like we're going to have 3 of these main opportunities that we're going to have to be getting these 3 jewels, which a little bit or touched a little bit on in the trailer. And essentially, the only thing I'm really last thing I'm going to talk about with these opportunities is I'm curious, is this going to be like a one-time big mission or a strand of missions? I hope these opportunities are a strand of missions because I think it'd really be unfortunate if they weren't, where it's just like one mission, you're done. I think it'd be nice if players, it takes a while for them to play through the opportunities. But again, essentially, to just sum some things up, Guido Martelli's introducing us. There's no upfront costs. We have to obtain capital by committing crimes, by being introduced to these characters across the frontier, and then once we have enough capital, we can compete, or not compete, we can complete these opportunities. All right, so we're finished up here. We have this new type of outlaw pass, the Quick Draw Club. Now, with the Quick Draw Club, there's going to be 4 of these, as you're going to see. I thought we were going to be getting outlaw pass number 6, but apparently we're not. But essentially, with this Quick Draw outlaw pass, there's 4. And it looks like they're coming over the coming months. Now, essentially, what I'm thinking is that by saying that, we're probably going to be getting one every few weeks to maybe even one a month. So, I don't think it's going to be like weekly. Hopefully, the opportunities are maybe weekly, but it doesn't look like these rapid fire outlaw passes or quick draw clubs are going to be weekly. Okay, so we have just the typical like awards and items that we typically see in the outlaw passes. We also have Dutch's outfit, which is cool. Um, so pretty much with these, all the passes are going to contain these like benefits and discounts, things like that. You probably see in just all the other passes. And then also, what's nice is each pass will cost 25 gold bars, all of which you can earn back by completing all 25 ranks. So thank God we don't have to like purchase it in a short amount of time, and then we get like the full amount back like they did with the past 2 passes. And then also what's nice, if you do purchase all 4 passes, you get the Halloween pass 2 for free. So we have the Halloween 2 pass confirmed. And also, that's why I think these passes might even go over a couple months, because it might even go all the way up until the Halloween pass, which is like probably going to be at the end of October or sometime in October. Here, this just talks about like new clothing and obviously just new items returning. What's nice is they are bringing back the fast travel from the Wilderness Camp, which was an Outlaw Pass number 4 item, which for players that didn't purchase that and unlock the fast travel from Wilderness Camp. That was unfortunate because using the fast travel from the Wilderness Camp is awesome. Traveling around the map, that'll be placed the general fence if you want to pick that up. Then what's also nice, it says that items from Specifically, it looks like clothing items for Outlaw Pass number 2 and 3 are going to be returning to obtain them. So that's nice. Those are sort of some, I guess, characters from story mode. Some of the outfits they had in those passes. So that's nice if you do want to pick those up. And then I'm not really going to read this. This is something with PC. But it says stay tuned for more details on next week's update here on the Newswire. So essentially, what I take from that is probably by the end of this week or at the latest Monday, July 12th, we're going to be getting some more information regarding this DLC. That's pretty much all I'm going to talk about as far as the Newswire is concerned. Let's now check out and break down the trailer.
Thank you for agreeing to meet with me.
Dear,
The organization that I represent, it's a more civilized way of doing things.
eyes blind by hazy
Diamond,
moon.
emerald, ruby. Private bonds we call Capitale.
Soul
You will procure them.
was a soul they stole.
And if you value my friendship as highly as you should,
Wait, Senor Martelli!
do not speak my name. You will bring them to me.
I got revenge. You're too late, blue water man.
Impress me, and I assure you it will be worth your while.
All right, guys, let's go ahead and break down the frames of this trailer, try to get an idea of what's happening. Now, right here, this sort of group here, it almost looks like a posse. I think these are going to be possibly some of the characters that are going to give us these crimes that we're going to have to complete to be able to obtain Capitale for Guido Martelli. So that's sort of what I think is going on here. Let's go ahead and check out the next frame. The next frame we have here appears to be where we're probably going to be meeting Guido Martelli for the introduction to what he wants us to do. In fact, I believe I know where this location is. I'm actually going to put it up on the screen here. And this is where I believe this location where we meet Guido Martelli is, in downtown Saint-Denis. You'll notice here that Vaudeville is in the background, which you could see behind Guido Martelli as he's walking towards us. And we have this gazebo here, which our character was already sort of leaning or waiting inside for Guido Martelli. So I do believe this is the location where we are officially going to meet him, and he's going to introduce us to what he wants us to do for him. This next frame here with this character playing the guitar. This may be a character that gives us some crime missions in Red Dead Online. I may even have some confirmation for this, or at least nonetheless the voice actor for this character. Rockstar actually posted on their story, the Instagram account, they call me Mecking Fish, who's actually this person, I believe his name is Christone Ingram, who maybe go by the name as Kingfish also, I'm not sure. But he's an American guitarist, I believe more in the genre of the blues, maybe jazz. But he basically put on his story that he states that wrote, played, and sung the song my character plays in the Red Dead Online Blood Money. So that's actually him. He wrote the song that's in the DLC trailer, which I think is really cool. And if he's not a character that gives us crime, that gives us crimes, he may be something, he could be playing something else. I think he'd be more of someone who gives us crime missions, but, it's just speculation. But I think that's cool. We got a little bit of background on the voice actor of this character and what he does. This next two frames here looks to be players or a posse getting ready to rob a train. At least that's what the setting looks like. We have players riding up to the train and then a player ultimately jumping onto the train. So this is a train robbery. I know a lot of players are curious to see if these are going to happen in free roam. Honestly, I hate to say it. I feel like this is just going to be a mission-only type of, robbery where they're only going to take place in missions. Obviously, we have to wait and see, but they didn't really specifically mention this around free roam, which may be unfortunate. But yeah, I think these may be more of a mission type of situation, these train robberies. Now, these next two frames appear to go back to the introduction. Originally, when I saw Guido Martelli here, I thought this might have been a cutscene for maybe the end of a mission or an opportunity mission, just because of the setting. But then with the next frame where it goes to the character, you can see it's still that same Saint-Denis setting, and then you have Vaudeville in the background, which you can't really see. You can tell it's that same setting. So I believe this is going back to the introduction now with these two frames. Moving on to these next three frames. This first one here, we have this character. It looks to be meleeing someone or maybe knocking them out. We have a fire in the background, and I believe this is possibly a kidnapping taking place. The Newswire did mention kidnapping is part of these crimes that will be taking place. The reason why I say this is we go to the second frame, we see sort of this fire breaking out. If you look to the left, it looks like this is still this sort of like house setting. I don't know if those are sort of like posts or pillars on the house. And then if we go to the third frame, we actually have a character. We have, it looks to be three characters, or one character who is actually carrying someone, and it's probably they're tied up, they're hogtied. It's probably someone that needed to be kidnapped for Guido Martelli. So this looks to be like a kidnapping situation or scenario taking place. Most not really sure where this kidnapping is taking place. Originally based off the second screenshot looking to the left, I thought it may be taking place somewhere in Lemoyne because it looked a little swampy. But then also this looked like more of a forest area, so maybe it could be somewhere up in like the Cumberland Forest. I really don't know. Your guess is as good as mine, but definitely I think kidnapping taking place. Now, these next three frames appear to represent the three jewels that we need to steal through the three opportunities. I'm assuming one jewel per opportunity, starting with the diamond, then the emerald, and the ruby. At least that's the way they're named in the trailer. That's the way they look in order anyway. So, again, these appear to be the three jewels we need to steal through the three opportunities. One thing I want to be clear, because the trailer sort of misleads this, and that's why I read the Newswire first, is that these jewels are in the opportunities which come after you have enough capital to be able to participate in these opportunities. The trailer almost made it seem like you jump into stealing these gems immediately, or these jewels immediately. I don't believe that's the case. Again, you have to go through earning enough capital first to be able to get into these opportunities, to be able to steal these jewels. Next frame here, looks like we have possibly Guido Martelli holding up these bonds. He describes these as the Capitale. This is what we need to steal before we can get involved in the opportunities missions, which again are where we can, I believe, acquire the three jewels that we need through the three opportunities. Here in this frame, looks like we have a five-person posse, possibly getting ready to attack a train here down in New Austin. I'm not exactly sure where in New Austin. That's all I'll really say about this frame. This frame here, we possibly have a coach robbery. There's a wagon or coach in the background, seems to be on fire. We have these players running away from it. So it's really hard to say what's happening there, and even the location. Looks like a possible coach robbery. The next frame after that, it looks like we might have possibly maybe like a debt that needs to be paid. We have this character getting ready to punch this guy. It could even be kidnapping. I'm not sure. I'd say one or the other. And then we sort of, with this other frame here, we go back to our voice actor character that we talked about in the beginning of the video. Now, again, it looks like we're dealing with the train robbery. It looks like we have a train slowing down based off the sparks here. And then right after that, we have looks like to be a player standing at the front of the train here on the track. So it looks to be possibly another train robbery going here. And believe it or not, even by the end of all this, I believe there's even a few more frames showing off a possible train robbery. This looks like it might be down in Lemoyne based off of like the foliage. So I think I might have a location on this one. Let's go ahead and move on. Next up here, I think we might have a homestead robbery based off the setting, the furniture, these two players tackling these, I want to say NPCs. We even have just like the overall just atmosphere of this, interior, the wallpaper, everything. I think this is probably a homestead robbery taking place in free mode. So that's what I think what we're seeing in these two frames. This screenshot looks like it may be in Van Horn. I have no idea what's going on here. It's just these players riding, so I'm really not going to comment too much on this frame. Right here, it looks like we have a player, Guido Martelli, someone who we may have kidnapped, and then I want to say a Saint-Denis lawman. But if you look in the background behind Guido Martelli, the player, it looks like he has a bond in his hand that we talked about, which are the Capitale, and it looks like he's putting it possibly in his satchel. He's getting ready to. So this might be sort of our way when we complete obviously these crimes. We're probably I'm thinking, I don't know if we're gonna get paid cash and gold. Hopefully we would, but it looks like this capital is sort of gonna be accumulated over time. I want to say like numerically, either that or some sort of rank progression, and then that way we're going to be able to eventually get into those opportunities. This frame looks like we have a character being held at gunpoint. I would say either a homestead robbery or maybe a debt collection. Might even be kidnapping. It's really hard to say. This does seem like it could be possibly a homely setting, but I'd say one of those three: homestead robbery, debt collection, or even possibly kidnapping. This looks to be after a player has committed a robbery crime. maybe after a stagecoach robbery, and they're handing a bag over to this NPC, possibly the character that introduced them to this robbery. And I'm assuming after this, the player's going to get paid in, I would think, Capitale, maybe even or cash and gold on the side. And this also appears to be taking place at Emerald Station. On this frame, this looks to definitely be a kidnapping, as we see this character lassoing this NPC. And I want to say this may be Van Horn. I'm not 100% sure, but sort of looks like Van Horn to me as far as the location. Now here we have some explosions at the Cornwall Kerosene and Tar Factory. So I don't know if they'd be robbing the place. I mean, I don't know why they'd be blowing it up. Maybe they're trying to kidnap somebody, like we saw with the fire in the house earlier. Maybe even intimidate people. I could see this being a place to rob. I believe even in story mode that might have happened. Like, if my memory serves me correct. So they could be robbing it to, get something valuable out of it. But yeah. Cornwall Kerosene and Tar Factory. Right here appears to be a stagecoach robbery. We have a player looks to be jumping onto the stagecoach, and I'm hoping these may be a little bit more complex than the ones we have already with the stranger missions. I have my doubts on that, but yeah, we'll have to see. But yeah, this is a stagecoach robbery. This does appear to be taking place somewhere down in New Austin. And it looks like yet again we have players gearing up for another train robbery. And one thing I want people to take consideration here, and with these frames here, we have a player dodging a Gatling gun, we have an explosion happening on a train. But as I was sort of watching the trailer and I was looking at the train and even the other shots of the train earlier, all of these shots look like just the generic trains we already have in free mode. Now, I don't even know if these trains are going to be spawned in free mode. I think they're going to be locked to missions more so. I hope I'm wrong about that. I'm hoping with everything they're showing us about trains, they may be in free mode. But what sucks is I think that all these trains look like the trains we already have. It don't look like the train cars that we have in story mode. We have like those, we can kind of walk in, we can loot everybody. We have those different train cars with all these people in it. It doesn't look like that at all. It just looks like the regular trains we have. We're going to go through, loot some chests, and that's about it. So, that's a little unfortunate, but, I have a feeling that's how it's going to end up working. Now here we have a player that looks to be uncovering a chest that was talked about in the Newswire, and there's Capitale, or these bonds in this chest. Now I have my suspicions that these may pop up in free mode, maybe randomly. And then I'm going to skip a frame here. I'm going to flip-flop 2 frames. We also have either a player or an NPC throwing an axe at this character, which I'm assuming either means that when you find these chests, whether in free mode or not, there's going to be NPCs trying to kill you since it's their chest, or maybe you pop up on the radar for a player to try to kill you. That's what that suggests to me, at least. Now, I skipped these 2 frames here. These are the last ones I'm going to show. We have our musician character again. Nothing really important there. This last one here looks like we have our character talking to Guido Martelli. Now, it almost looks like he's holding something, maybe one of the gems. So I'm thinking this may be after one of the opportunities missions. I think that may be what's happening here. It could be after one of the bonds, since earlier we did see him look like when we were going through the one where it looks like we may have delivered a kidnapped person to him. There was a lawman there, and then it looked like we had a bond in our hand. It could be maybe that it's just something as simple as talking to him, but something tells me this might be after one of the opportunities mission. It almost looks like he's holding a gem. But that is officially all of the frames from the trailer. And last thing I really say here, because I apologize for this super long video, just so much to cover, so much information. As far as how I think this DLC will work, I'm thinking the Capitale may sort of work as like almost a progression system, almost like the role levels. The Capitale might be like a leveling system with being able to reach these new opportunities. I'm thinking between each opportunities, you're probably going to have to earn Capitale again. And I'm assuming if you want to replay these opportunities, you're probably going to have to earn Capitale again to go through them all. I'm thinking that there's probably going to be a good chance you're going to earn golden cash while committing the crimes to earn the Capitale. And I'm obviously thinking when you complete the opportunities, there's a much bigger payday for recovering those jewels. I'm hoping that there's a strand of missions. I would think there would be for the opportunities. I wouldn't see it just being one mission and that's it. It could be, but that's sort of how I think everything's going to work as far as like the Capitale, the opportunities, and just sort of putting that all together. In any case, guys, I hope you enjoyed this video. I hope you find it extremely beneficial. Please don't forget to like, subscribe, share this video. Be sure to comment if you have any questions, and have a great day.